What's good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the earnings that just came out, what's happening with some new changes to the probes involving Tesla, what you should be watching for as time progresses on the charts. But before I break into details information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100, you're guaranteed 7 free stocks. This offer ends in just a couple of weeks. Anyways, for Tesla, you guys can see right over here, it's been shuffling within this range. We have resistance right over here at this 182 area. If we break through this, we could see Tesla attempt to go all the way back up to the 185 zone. If, excuse me, if we end up projecting from here, our support is going to be at 180.78, followed by that 178 area. So overall, Tesla's holding up quite decently so far, with about 1% in the pre-market. We're also seeing the market holding up very decently after this data came out. We've invalidated some of these sell signals, and I'm seeing some more upside potential in the markets. But I don't think this is going to last forever. It's just a temporary thing. So I'm going to break down more details about this. Let's first talk about this data. Today is Friday, May 3rd, and we just had some important stuff come out. The unemployment rate was 3.9%. This is a little bit hotter than what we expected at 3.8%. Once again, showing signs of contraction, and this tends to be very, very good, at least for disinflation. On top of this, the labor force participation rate was 62.7%. Non-farm payrolls were 175,000 below expectations, and we also saw non-farm payrolls from the private sector at 167,000 below expectations. Now, don't forget that 15 minutes after the market opens, we have the S&P Global Composite PMI coming out, and we also have at 10 o'clock a.m. the ISM Services PMI, the ISM Services new orders, and then other pieces of data like this. This is going to have a big effect on the way the market ends up moving, so make sure you're prepared for this, and we will see what this ends up causing. So look for volatility again for the next 15 and 30 minutes after the market opens. After market open, just wait and see what happens once all this data comes out. For more data involving the markets, we're waiting for data in the markets actually holding up very nicely thanks to that. April's job report has been due and is actually showing that hiring continued at a brisk pace. That's very important. This is once again showing more contraction, and it's not really a big surprise. With Apple's big and largest buyback ever, with them approving $110 billion in share repurchases, that's what helped the share price go up quite a bit, despite the fact that their revenue and etc. were not the strongest and their iPhone sales slowed down more than 10%, suggesting more weak iPhone sales, but the buyback really helps save the share price. That's why it's up the way it is. There's been a lot of talk about changes right over here as the board is actually changing their leadership, at least for Paramount and for the others out there. Besides that, there's been a lot of talk about how these different companies working together are facing some pressure under accelerated timelines as they chase rivalries. And that's going to be between Amazon, Google, and many other big tech companies. So that's something worth noting when it comes to AI, but nothing too crazy with the different rivalries. Moving forward for earnings, we just had Hershey's announce their earnings for today, and they did relatively well. They ended up beating on many expectations. They got net sales of $3.2 billion, up 8.9%. Net income is also up quite a bit. EPS was $3.89, and that's actually not bad whatsoever. And pretty good earnings overall. Their financial outlook is decent overall. It's actually in line with expectations. So that's why the share price is up. Anyways, now let's focus on Tesla. So there's been a lot of talk about what Tesla has announced as they're laying off lowly paid interns weeks before the summer has started. And that's very, very sad news, at least for a lot of people who are very excited for this. Tesla's doing this because of the way the economy is moving right now and because of how it's affecting them overall. And it's very, very sad to hear news about this. They mentioned that, there's going to be a lot of changes to leadership going on in Tesla as they're laying off more employees, and also it's also affecting their ability to take on these internships. So that's what tends to happen during difficult times like this. But despite that, there is some big news that came out. Regulators have closed their probe of Tesla's Model X and S. The probe was for a faulty rear view cameras, which results in more than 158,000 potential recalls. Not official recalls, because once again, it was fixed with the software updates. But you guys understand my point. I'm just going based off what this article is saying. And once again, this has been closed. This has been going on since 2021, a very, very important probe. And the NHTSA says it's going to likely look into this, as they were saying that the issues appeared to address the risk presented by failure of the device. However, moving forward, they're not going to continue with this because they're going to be focusing on different things instead. When it comes to the way that this is moving, this is once again still important because there are other probes involving Tesla. So they ended their nearly 3-year investigation into the autopilot, and now they're ending this one. But they also opened a new probe when it came to Tesla having to uh, they basically had a quote unquote recall of about 2 million vehicles. It wasn't an official recall, guys. It just required a software update. But so they're still investigating that. Besides that, the large majority of the other probes have been kind of like closed. And this one right here, this one being closed is another good piece of news. This involved 158,000 of these Teslas. So that's a bit of an improvement. And we'll see how things go with the latest probe that's still open. But that's once again a good piece of news for them. That's part of why Tesla's up a bit, not to mention the way the overall market is moving. So what do I see for the share price moving forward? What is my personal opinion of Tesla? Let's talk about this now. Watch 182, the zone is resistance. Breaking through this opens the door for Tesla to push even higher. And I see potential for this to actually push a bit more because so far the news is decent and the data is actually helping the markets, in my personal opinion. So we'll be watching to see if Tesla can try to break past 182. If we break this, we're going to be looking for a push for 185. If we end up rejecting off 182, watch 180.79 followed by 180 flat, and then we have 178 below that. In my personal opinion, since we're holding above 182, there's potential for more upside. So we'll look for a little push attempt on Tesla a little bit later on. It may maintain this range right here, but it could go a little bit higher. We could try to go up to 185. Part of why I say that is because the market is running really hard. We had this like head and shoulders like structure, right? And we've actually invalidated this. This was another trap for retail. So watch this 510 area. When we open, there might be a little bit of profit taking. So it might actually dip a little bit before it continues higher. And I do think that SPY has potential to go all the way up to 512 plus. It's looking bullish right now. And we are once again invalidating the head and shoulders. This was another trap. So we're going to be looking for the 512 areas, our next potential targets. If that breaks, look for 515.5. If we lose 510, look at 508. But I favor that this is going to try to continue to push. Might dip a little bit when we open, then try to continue to 512 plus. For the QQQ, something very similar happened. We're actually at the 433 area, which means that the more bullish outcomes are actually taking control. If we reject on the QQQ, we have support right here at about 431, then 430. Losing 430 would take us down to 428, but that seems very unlikely. Looks more like the QQQ is going to hold this 433 area, maybe get a little bit of a drop upon open, then start pushing for 435, eventually 437. So I see a very good chance of this pushing higher, and I do favor the QQQ looking a bit more bullish. So watch and see if we get that bounce and a break to the upside. That, in my opinion, is more probable. For Apple, Apple's also pushing up very, very nicely. You guys can see it dip just a little bit, and we're actually approaching 185 exactly as we predicted yesterday. And I think this could go even higher. We're going to be looking for Apple to some profit taking on Apple all the way back down. It might dip a little bit, which might dip the market somewhat before it continues higher. And Apple could go all the way up to 186.5. If that breaks, look for 188 and 190. But look for a little dip at first and a bounce. I think Apple has more upside potential. Nvidia, it's also pushing. We're going to be looking for a test of 877. Might dip upon open and start pushing higher. I think we could go all the way up to 885. I think Nvidia has potential to go higher. We have a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure. I think that this is going to lead to a symmetrical move to at least 885 on Nvidia. So there's more upside. Might dip a little bit first and start pushing higher. So look for that on the chart. On top of all of that, I just want to call out stocks like Coinbase. They're actually back to green. Coinbase could push all the way back up towards 232. Amazon has potential to go all the way up towards 188. Since we broke our resistance, it could continue to push. Watch 188 break, then eventually we could go all the way up to about 190. So there's more upside potential in Amazon. Meta may also try to bounce thanks to Apple. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually test about 450, 450 is going to be my target on Meta. Could even go a little higher if that breaks, but that's what I'm seeing for now. I also want to mention that the VIX is dipping quite a bit. The VIX is going to likely come all the way down to fill its gap around the much lower levels into the 12s. So I do see some more downside on the VIX coming because the market's going to push a little bit higher. But I want to just make it clear, guys, I am not a perma bull. I don't think the market's going to last forever like this. I think we're temporarily pushing higher, of course. We could go higher from here, but this move is not going to last forever. For now, it's going to last. So for today, maybe even early next week, but I will make another update on this later on. With that being said, thank you for listening, guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. For Tesla, do not forget to watch the resistance levels I called out, and just know that there is a lot of potential for the charts to go even higher. All right, so we'll see how things go. Thank you for listening. I'll see you guys again in just a couple of hours. Tesla has potential to push all the way up to the 185 to 186 area, if not 188, if that breaks, for a temporary push to the upside. All right, have a great day, guys, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Thank you and peace out.